it's Sarah Beth here, and today I want to talk about how to successfully clone tomatoes. So you're probably wondering, why would you want to clone tomatoes? Why do you want to make more tomato plants? Well, to make more tomatoes, you want to succession plant tomatoes later on in the season, like I want to do. Maybe potentially some of your tomatoes have disease and you want to make more plants off of that. You want to have more tomato plants, simple as that. It's super easy, and I'm just going to show you really quick how you can successfully do that. So y'all can see here, this is my tomato plants that I successfully cloned. They've been inside now for several weeks, and you can see there are roots on these plants, and so I'm probably going to leave them in here a little bit longer so these roots can get a little bit more strong before I go on and plant them outside in the garden. But you'll probably know my sad story with these tomatoes back here, and funny, they actually are setting flowers on them, and I'll show you that in a second. I don't think they're going to produce any fruit, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to make several clippings off of them as kind of like an insurance policy and get them to root in the house and clone them so I can have several more tomato plants that I could plant out in my other garden. And there is a beautiful yellow finch over there, guys. Over there on the sunflowers right now. I've had 3 regular yellow finch comers daily to the garden, and they are just magnificent. Oh, there's 2 of them. Do y'all see that? There's one right there. Oh. Had to stop for a second and chew, guys. They are just so beautiful, and they love the sunflower seeds. So cloning your tomato plants is literally as easy as picking the right time of day to make your cuttings and throwing them in some type of glass jar or ball jar and putting them in water and leaving them in your house for several weeks. And you could throw like different types of teas in there and stuff to kind of promote root growth, but you don't need to. Literally all I did was throw them in some water, some really good cuttings, and they grew roots. I put them in a sunny window and they grew roots. So I'm just going to show you which part of the tomato you want to pick, what kind of cuttings you want to take, and stuff like that. So right here I have my glass filled of water. It's literally just a ball jar. It's what I like to use, and you want to get your pruners because you don't want to damage the plant when you're making your cutting. And here are my tomato plants that I thought that were not going to make it, guys, but look, I weeded it here the other day and it's looking a lot better here. We have new growth. Look, there are flowers being set on the plant in several places. Look at the little flower. So I don't know if they're going to produce fruit, but I can take clippings from a couple of them. I'm not going to take all of them because I want to see if they will actually have a chance to, but I can take clippings from several of them that have flowers on them. And so that will ensure that they're further along and they're more likely to produce tomatoes for me once they root in my jars before the first frost. So when taking clippings, bigger is not necessarily better. Like you want to take something that really looks really healthy. Like this doesn't look healthy. This looks like, you know, worms have been damaging it, which I did find several army worms on it. And you want to find something that's really green, that has really healthy upper growth on it. And you don't need to take a huge clipping. You kind of just need, like you can see in this container over here, something that's going to go in your jar and have a little bit of upper growth and have enough room to have really healthy roots. So what I think I'm going to do is, see, I've got several little ones over here. I'm not going to take the whole thing, but over here I have several little guys kind of springing off of this dead plant coming out. And I'm just going to take a couple, maybe 1 or 2 of these little guys and like leave these big ones to give this plant a chance to reestablish itself. I'm going to cut as close as I can to the base because you want as much to go in the water as possible. And I'm going to cut this one too right here. So here are our 2 tomato clippings that we just took. Now, like with this bottom growth here, I'm gonna prune this off because the water is gonna be in contact with it, and so I don't want any like mold or disease to take over this plant. I want the area that's gonna be in the water to root to be completely stem free. So I'm gonna go on and do that now with my pruners. So I pruned off these little stems, these leaves with my pruners, and you probably, rule of thumb is you probably want about 6 to 10 inches or so of stem free of tomato cuttings. So you can see here. And then what I'll literally do is I'm going to put this in the house. So I'm actually probably going to go on here and make several more cuttings, because my goal is, and I want to experiment to see if I could make cuttings, make more tomato plants, and grow some over the winter in containers in the house this winter. I'm going to put this jar of water in the house in a sunny windowsill, and every 2 days about, I'm going to dump the water out, put clean water in it, and I'm going to refill it as high to this brim as possible. And I'm going to do that until it roots. And I'm going to do that, like you saw on the other one, until it has really strong, healthy roots. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to start bringing it out and hardening it off, getting it used to the weather outside, because it's been inside for weeks now. You know, it's not used to this hot weather, or if it gets colder weather for, you know, a little while until I plant it into the ground. And yeah, it's as simple as that, cloning your own tomato plants and making more tomatoes. Now I want to show you one thing you might be worried about, and this is normal. See how this is starting to wilt after I made the cutting? That is normal. They will wilt and then they will come back up. Most of them will, at least. You might lose a couple of them, but this is normal, so don't worry, don't fret. It usually comes back up and it will make roots. Well, I hope you learned something. If y'all like this video, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed to see my next video. Hit the notification bell here to receive notification when I post my next video. Comment if you have questions. Till next time, y'all. Be blessed. Bye. Oh my gosh, guys. Do you see that I just missed it? This little tomato's got a flower that's set on it. Fully yellow. I can't believe it. These tomatoes I thought were a goner, but they might actually produce tomatoes. God is just miraculous. And I haven't watered these tomatoes once in like 2 months. Isn't that crazy? I've literally been praying for God to help my tomato plants, and look what he did. There's a flower.